What healthy conflict looks like. When most of us hear the word conflict, we imagine shouting, slamming doors, or silent treatments that stretch on for days. We often associate conflict with something destructive, something to avoid at all costs. But here's the truth. Conflict itself isn't the problem. What matters is how we approach it. Conflict can either break a relationship down or, when navigated with awareness, it can become the very thing that makes a relationship stronger, deeper, and more resilient. Think about it. Two people with different backgrounds, needs, and perspectives are bound to clash at some point. That's normal. Healthy conflict isn't about avoiding disagreements. It's about handling them in ways that preserve trust and connection. So, what does healthy conflict actually look like? Let's break it down. 1. Respect remains, even in disagreement. In unhealthy conflict, people often resort to insults, sarcasm, eye-rolling, or shutting down. In healthy conflict, respect stays intact. Even if emotions get intense, partners don't cross the line into personal attacks. They focus on the issue at hand, not on attacking the person. For example, instead of saying, "You're so selfish you never think of me," a healthier approach is, "I feel hurt when plans are changed last minute because it makes me feel unimportant." Notice the difference? One triggers defensiveness, the other opens the door to understanding. 2. Both people feel heard. Healthy conflict is less about arguing your case and more about listening deeply. It's about slowing down enough to hear not just the words but the emotions underneath them. In unhealthy conflict, partners talk over each other, interrupt, or simply wait for their turn to respond. In healthy conflict, there's a genuine curiosity. Help me understand how you're feeling. When both people feel heard, not necessarily agreed with but heard, walls come down. 3. Ownership instead of blame. Blame creates walls, ownership creates bridges. In unhealthy conflict, we tend to point fingers. This is all because of you. But in healthy conflict, each person can acknowledge their part in the dynamic. For example, "I realize I've been stressed and short with you lately, and that's added to the tension. I want to work on that." This doesn't excuse the other person's behavior, but it does model accountability, and accountability invites accountability. 4. Emotions are shared honestly and safely. Healthy conflict involves expressing emotions without weaponizing them. Instead of bottling feelings until they explode or using them to guilt-trip the other person, partners communicate openly. "I feel anxious when you don't text back, because I start to worry about where I stand." This vulnerability can feel risky, but it creates intimacy. It says, "I trust you enough to let you see me." 5. The goal is resolution, not victory. In unhealthy conflict, the goal is to win, to be right, to prove a point. But in healthy conflict, the goal shifts. How can we move forward together? This often requires compromise, flexibility, and creativity. Sometimes it's meeting in the middle. Sometimes it's agreeing to disagree with respect. And sometimes it's about supporting the other person's need, even when it's not what you'd choose. Because at the end of the day, it's not about keeping score, it's about keeping connection. 6. Boundaries are honored. Healthy conflict doesn't mean staying locked in a heated argument until you're both exhausted. It means recognizing when emotions are too high to continue productively. Taking a break isn't abandonment, it's wisdom. In healthy conflict, someone can say, "I'm too overwhelmed right now. Can we pause and come back to this in an hour?" And the other person respects that. The difference between stonewalling and taking space is communication. One shuts down, the other communicates the need for a break while committing to return. 7. Repair follows conflict. Every couple argues. What sets strong relationships apart is what happens after. In healthy conflict, repair is intentional. That might look like apologizing, expressing gratitude for the other person's willingness to work through things, or even just reaching out with a hug to reconnect. Repair says, even though we disagreed, we're still on the same team. The deeper gift of healthy conflict. When you think about it, healthy conflict is really about safety. It says, I can disagree with you, I can express my needs, I can be honest about my feelings, and I won't lose you. That safety is what allows relationships to grow. It's what transforms conflict from a threat into an opportunity. Opportunity to understand each other better, to strengthen trust, to heal old wounds. And here's the paradox. Avoiding conflict often creates distance, while engaging in healthy conflict actually builds closeness. So the next time conflict arises, Instead of asking, how do I avoid this? Try asking, how can I use this moment to bring us closer? Because healthy conflict isn't the absence of disagreement. It's the presence of respect, listening, ownership, emotional honesty, and repair. And when we learn to fight well, we don't just survive challenges, we build relationships that can last.